Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Welcome to my show. I am thrilled to have on the show Mike Thompson. He is the CEO of SVI, and it's an organizational development company, and it's designed to create great companies and extraordinary people. Welcome to the show, Mike.
Thank you so much, Jeff. Good to be here.
Well, I love that description of your company because it seems like organizational development just changed in the last month. CEOs who used to lead face-to-face in boardrooms are now leading by Zoom. As you look at this whole pandemic, what is your advice to companies that are trying to navigate this?
Yeah, well, I think companies have navigated it exceptionally, as good as could be expected, probably better than can be expected. It's just been amazing to see people's speed to adjust, how agile organizations actually are. We're excited about seeing some of the progress, just because we've been in that space for a while with our product Learner Mobile, and Learner Mobile is our next generation learning solution, and it was created for a mobile workforce or a virtual workforce. So for us, it's in a lot of ways it's been business as usual, and we've been able to see more organizations do more with our product, and we've been able to kind of help them bridge the gap from maybe where they once were and how their operations were set up prior to COVID, and how they're delivering it today. And it's actually been a fun process to work with them and be a part of that transformation, and just to see how quickly people have been able to make that transition.
Well, you're a prolific author of 3 best-selling books. One of them, Forging Grit. Well, if you talk about grit, this is a time when all of us are being forced to learn how to do it or to fail.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And that book was actually coming off of my second book called The Anywhere Leader. And there's a really cool company, and Anywhere Leader was about identifying those people who lead and succeed in any business environment, no matter where they are. And you're wise to point out that the perseverance aspect of it. And so because the perseverance aspect of the Anywhere Leader is so important, I wrote Forging Grit along with a co-author, Stephen Caldwell. And that was all about an experience that I had in Nepal, where I went way up into the Himalayas and was able to see some of these communities that had no running water, no electricity, no infrastructure. And I was able to see them transform their communities and bring that infrastructure and that education system and running water and electricity. And the way that they did it, which was quite interesting, is there's a company called Heifer International. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, Jeff, but
yes.
Basically they provide 2 farm animals, a male and a female farm animal, to these communities way up in the Himalayas, and they teach the women how to farm, how to turn these 2 farm animals into 100 farm animals and sell the product. And through that, they were able to economically transform their communities. And Forging Grit is about their story. Those amazing Anywhere Leader women who were able to transform their communities. And what was so compelling about it is before they were the courageous leaders who brought the transformation, they were abused in their communities because the communities were so dependent upon the men in their communities. And with this new economic transformation that the women brought, it made them less dependent, and the communities as a whole grew. So that's the story of forging grit, the perseverance of these women in these Himalayan mountain communities.
And you are a noted speaker. I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube and Vimeo with you in front of audiences. When you're invited to speak, typically what are you talking about?
Yeah, a number of things, but most recently, I'm a champion of our industry, and I come from the advertising industry, Jeff. And in the advertising industry, that's the cool, sexy, hip, engaging, emotionally driven, narrative, beautiful, wonderful industry, Madison Avenue. And you come into the talent development industry or the training industry, and it's not that. A lot of times it's overly academic. A lot of times it's overly rigorous. It's light on narrative. It's light on beauty. It's light on story. And so a lot of times what I'm speaking about is just a charge for our industry to not just be brainy, but also be beauty, not just be logic, but also be emotion. And it's a really, when I was in the advertising industry, we were selling tires. We were selling soup on a shelf. In this industry, in the talent development industry, we're changing people's lives. How dare we not be the cool, sexy, hip, engaging industry? And so it's really a charge to our industry to be more compelling, to be more of a storytelling, to really drive behavior change through narrative. And I speak on that aspect a lot.
I was on your Facebook photo album, and I saw just dozens and dozens of pictures of you and your team helping out in times of need. How important is it for leaders to give back?
There's got to be a heartbeat in an organization, and there's got to be goodwill from an organization. And I guess the reason that there has to be is just because, for me, I think it's our greatest commandment. Love God, love people, and if we go about our day not loving people, then we're missing it. And so for us, our organization at its core is about loving people. And that's one way that we do that.
Well, we're almost out of time for this segment. So final thoughts for the organizational leader out there who is still kind of in shock. I can't go back to my office. I can't go into the boardroom. What is your advice for that leader?
Yeah, I think it's about just staying connected, even if you can't go into the boardroom, if you can't go on site. I love that we're remaining connected through any number of mechanisms, Zoom or Learner Mobile for that sense, or GoToMeeting or you name it. But I do think it gives us an opportunity to develop everybody and to not just leave training and connection to the boardroom or the executive team or whatever, but now we're able to use these tools to connect way deep into the organization, even at the field level. And so now we're able to develop everybody. And this is a great time to really figure out new ways of doing that.
Outstanding. Mike, give everybody your website.
So our corporate website is www.sviworld.com. And the key product that we push is Learner Mobile. And you can find out more about Learner Mobile at www.learnermobile.com. Outstanding. Mike, you've been a great guest. I sure appreciate you. Thank you so much, Jeff. Have a good day and be safe. You bet. That's it for now. We'll see you next time. Bye.